Hi, I'm Dave Epstein. Welcome to this edition of Growing Wisdom. Today we're talking about keeping bees on your property. So we've all heard about the fact that the bees are in trouble. We hear about collapsing colony disorder. We also know that chemicals as well as urbanization really takes away what the bees need in order to be successful. So in order for us to eat, we have to have honeybees because you need the pollination, and honeybees do most of the work around the United States in terms of pollination. And so we have bees on the property here, and you can see behind me we've got a couple of hives. There's 3 tiers. So a company called Best Bees brought these bees to us, and we're doing a little bit of experimenting because we're close to a farm. So of course one of the challenges is, are the bees going to be successful near an area where there are chemicals? And the other thing about bees, they can travel 1 or 2 miles, perhaps even further, in terms of when they pollinate. So somebody using chemicals down the street at a different neighborhood can affect these guys right here. Having bees on your property is, first of all, interesting. I love coming out here. I like to watch them. I like to see what they're doing. Also, it's a great way to help the environment. The bees are pollinating, the bees are keeping my plants healthier, my vegetables are healthier. Of course, in terms of an experiment that's valid, I don't have 2 exact gardens that are identical, and one with the bees and one without, but it seems like things are healthier this year in spite of the drought. The bees seem to be helping many of my plants, especially my vegetables, and we've had a very successful harvest this year with things like tomatoes and cucumbers and squashes, and I believe that some of that is due to the fact that the bees are doing their job. There are several organizations that do help support the bees, and I encourage you to look at different organizations and perhaps bring bees onto your property. Now, if you are allergic to bees or if you're afraid of bees, the nice thing about them is that they really don't bother you. They're just sort of doing their thing. A bee doesn't want to sting you. A bee wants to pollinate and bring the pollen back to the hive and do its job. We're very close to the hives here. There's thousands of bees swarming around, but they don't bother you if you don't bother them. So of course the bees are making honey in there, and that is their food, but we also can take some of the honey from them. So there's a couple of ways you can get bees to your property. You could learn about bees and take a course, and you could bring them onto your property, and then you could be the beekeeper. Or you can have companies come onto your property and they'll keep the bees, and you can negotiate with them or pay them for the honey and have your own local honey. For Growing Wisdom, I'm Dave Epstein.